Hello and welcome to this edition of 101 Sports Webcast. I'm Justin Beagle.
And I'm Matt Dowdle. Let's start things off with the quick hitters.
The NCAA tournament concluded last night with Louisville beating Michigan for the national title. Matt, what was your biggest takeaway from last night's game?
I mean, the game as a whole was just awesome. It was outstanding to watch. It was exciting the entire first half. My takeaway was Louisville's defense completely smothered Michigan in the end. At first, they could kind of stick with it when they're making the three-pointers, but after a while, turnovers started to happen, and the team could not capitalize against Louisville's defense. You know, Hardaway was just awful.
Oh, yeah, he
for the
was
duration of the game,
terrible.
both on the offensive and defensive end. Trey Burke got a lot of his points at the end with just some little free throws. Louisville's defense smothered them, and their offense, with Mr. Luke Hancock, took over.
Absolutely, yeah. Michigan's big three, only one of them showed up to play, and that was Trey Burke. And then we had the little guy, Spike Albright, came in there, averaging 1 point a game, dropped 17. That's more than Hardaway and Glenn Robinson III combined. So definitely Louisville's defense shut down the Michigan big three.
It was crazy. I loved it. I loved every second of it. I wish it had gone a little bit differently. I wish Trey Burke had been able to play a little bit more with the foul trouble. Same thing with McGarry. He was not able to do too much. But again, the defense was great. I mean, it was just a phenomenal game.
Yeah, tale of two halves, really.
Jeremy Lin made recent news in a 60 Minutes episode where he said that he would have received a Division I college scholarship if he wasn't Asian American. Justin, is this fair or foul?
I think this is completely absurd. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're black, white, Hispanic, Asian. I mean, it just comes down to hardcore potential. If you show it in high school, you're going to get a D1 scholarship. They practice the same amount, they play the same amount, and they get the same opportunities.
You know, I'm going to agree with you on this one. I do think it's a foul, especially considering where he's at right now. It'd be a whole other thing if he was still riding the bench on an NBA team, if he wasn't on an NBA team. But right now he's starting for the Rockets. He doesn't need to be complaining about this right now. But I will give him this. If you think stereotypically, when you think and you go to to the yard to play some basketball, you don't start thinking in your mind, who are we going to start picking? Who's the best pickings? It's not really the Asian American person. So I'll give him that just slightly. But like you said, it is about who plays best, who can bring the best potential to a team. And if he could have done it, he would have.
And the guy went to Harvard to play. I mean, that's not a bad basketball school to go and play at. So I don't really see why he's complaining in the first place. The NHL trade deadline has come and gone. And with the postseason looming, what move stood out to you the most, Matt?
The whole Roberto Luongo situation just is kind of mind-blowing to me. Nothing happened. And to me, it's just like that was the worst thing that could have gone for either Roberto or Vancouver. To me, it's a situation where you polish a turd, it's still a turd. Right now, the situation, they landed with a turd. They could have polished it by getting rid of him. Vancouver probably would have had to eat a little bit of their budget, but that would have saved money later on. Or Luongo would have maybe gone to Florida, but he doesn't look like he could be their starter for the future, so I don't really know what he was wanting. Either way, the situation was going to suck, but they could have turned this turd into at least a polished turd, and they did not do that.
I like that term, the polished turd. I really enjoy that. But I definitely have to go with the Pittsburgh Penguins and the moves that they made. I mean, Ray Sherr, their manager, he's always been a person to dive into the trade deadline. And this year he came in with 3 star players. And with the Crosby going down, I mean, they really looked like a #1 seed that could win it all going into this postseason. I mean, they got Ignelia, they got Morrow and Murray. Morrow's going to fill in for Crosby with his broken jaw. And they have enough guys to play that back wing, and they're going to have a really strong defense going into the postseason.
Exactly. I like what they did. If you're a #1 seed and you're going into the playoffs, you have to try to drive your team and put them in the best position to win overall. And with Crosby getting hurt, this is a great way to provide some depth and some additional support as he recovers as the playoffs get started and they're getting ready to go and hopefully to make a deep run.
Yeah, I'm hoping so.
The Masters are this weekend at Augusta National Golf Course. Everyone talks about the favorites in the tournament, but who is your dark horse? Justin, hit me.
24-year-old Ricky Fowler.
All right.
Now, he's 29th ranked in the world right now for 24 years old. Not that bad.
Not too shabby.
The one reason why I think that he will possibly contend for the Masters is his putting has improved drastically. In years past, he's always struggled putting. And who were the best putters in the game? Woods, Phil, Rory. So if he wants to contend, he's got to hit birdie and eagle on all these putts, 30 and 40 yards away if he wants to see himself in the third round, possibly contending for that title.
I like your idea there with Ricky Fowler. My personal dark horse is Dustin Johnson. He's got an incredible long shot, which at a course like at Augusta could really prove him or serve him really well, especially on the short par 5s where he could hopefully drive those, get him real close to the green off the first shot. That could be great for him. And especially now he's coming off on a little bit of a hot streak. His last tournament placed 4th, one before that 12th. He's kind of riding some warm hot streak going on. And if he can stay consistent at Augusta and not only remain consistent with his short game and his long game and not let the nerves get to him, through all 4 rounds, I really think he could push to, ultimately win the Masters.
Yeah, one thing I noticed is that both of our guys are both really young. Fowler's only been a 5-year pro. Your guy's only been about, 7-year pro? So,
all young.
The youth's coming up.
Well, that's all the time we have for this block, but when we return, I'll be sitting down with our baseball experts to talk about the start of the MLB season. Stay tuned.